Warning. This program contains frank and mature discussions intended to educate and advocate on the subjects of sexuality, sex, and gender and body positivity. Due to the nature of the topics being discussed, this may include subject matter and language that some may find offensive. This program is intended for adults only. If you are under the age of 18, if such material offends you, or if it is illegal to view such material in your community, please exit now.
Brown chicken, brown cow. 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 This is fun. Brown chicken, brown cow. Brown chicken, brown cow.
Welcome to the Brown Chicken, Brown Cow Show. Oh my gosh, we are in Season 2, Episode 2. That's right, 2018 is here, and we are looking back and looking forward. We've done a lot of things with the show, David. A lot of things. We've come a long way, oh my gosh, from our humble beginnings up to the top of the stacks of the sexuality podcast listings. It's been amazing.
It's been a rocket ever since someone joined. I don't know. Maybe it's terrible.
I don't know. It could be. And yes, joined the crew, and then we went crazy. Who knows? Today we're actually looking and talking to. Well, we're not looking at. We can't see them, but we're actually talking to two of the pinnacle people behind the scenes that help make the show run smoothly and gives us the best quality that we can possibly get, and also pushing that further and further down the line so we can get even better.
Wait.
What?
We're talking to the professor and madam?
Yes, we are. The professor and madam are here with us today from behind the curtain. They're actually going to say hi to us, and then we're going to kind of put them through the ringer and see what they have to say about the show.
I'm so excited.
Oh, boy, let's get started. Let's introduce the professor and madam. Hi, guys.
Hello, Monkey.
Hey, Monkey. And I do like when you both call me madam. It makes me happy.
Oh, madam.
And hello, David.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, the madam has already made me blush once. Great. Okay. So let's go ahead. We know your names your names, as I do the air quotes that nobody can see over the radio. Who are you? Let's start there. Professor, who are you?
My name is Professor R.W. Supernius. Came out of my steampunk days, actually. And I'm one of the co-producers of the show and one of the technical wizards.
Ooh, and madam? Where'd she go?
I am Madam Alchemia.
Uh-huh.
Mostly, I chose the name Madam because that forces the monkey to call me Madam every week, and that just makes me happy. I am the primary monkey blusher on the staff. I'm also the line producer, and I do a lot of the marketing and the web stuff. So I've got my fingers in a few pies.
And you mentioned you do marketing and producing and such. What is it like specifically that y'all do on the show, would you say?
I'm going to let the professor start.
I'm just the person who talks.
Well, shows like this, online delivery, there's a lot of post-production that takes place. There's a lot of pre-production that takes place. So we do a podcast and a vodcast. Some people just do one. So we have an enormous amount of material. And we have, in addition to the podcasts, obviously, we have our nuggets, which are like a mini podcast. So there's recording the stuff and, making sure it looks good and sounds good. And then there's all the post-production work to add in the graphics and the animation and make it sound and look even better.
So basically you have the easy side of the work and,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just, as we used to like to say way back in the day, I just pressed the make movie button.
And we don't have to look good. We're frequently, though nobody ever sees it, behind the scenes in our pajamas.
Oh,
because we were up all night working.
You wear pants?
I do have to say, that is something I'm very jealous of. I wish I could be on camera just in my pajamas, but alas.
Well, I'll have you know, just last night, Monkey and the professor and I were looking at making Monkey a custom-made onesie to wear on the show. So this may yet happen. We may have a pajama. We may have to have a vodcast pajama party.
It is ridiculous. Both of them, the two that we made are both ridiculous looking. So
most awesome onesie ever.
Could you describe it to me in small or large, slow words?
If you think of a multiple, go into a fabric store, find the most obnoxious patterns, cut them into little pieces, and then vomit them into a onesie, that's not nearly as obscene as what we put together.
That's really close to what I was going to say, actually. I was going to say stuff them into a shotgun and shoot them against a wardrobe mannequin. But, I think yours is more succinct.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, moving forward. Let's get past my onesie fetish here. Professor, let's start with you. How did you get involved with the show?
Well, it's your fault.
I know.
Monkey and I had been friends for a while, and, we talked about our former experiences working on various creative projects, and he started talking about this new project, this brown chicken, brown cow project, and I was intrigued, and I got sucked in, much to my chagrin, and here I am. No, seriously, part of the reason that I dove into this is because Monkey's got a lot of experience doing, radio and creative projects and print work, and so he understands a lot of the logistical constraints of doing a show like this. A lot of times when people get on board with a show like this, they have no technical experience, and they trip over things a lot, completely innocently, and that can really drag things down. And having the executive producer of the show knowing all that behind the scenes stuff is huge.
Madam, you want to chime in a little bit?
So, a little known secret to most of you, actually everybody knows, the professor and I are in a relationship. I know.
Bum, bum, bum.
So we're violating the fundamental rule of never, dip in the company pool when you're dating one another. Anyhow, I'm watching him and Monkey do stuff, and the professor is a brilliant man. But he's not the best at putting things together in an organized timeline. He can do it, and he'll tell you he can do it. And he's really good at it, but he hates doing it. So it is the last thing. And so I'm watching this happen. I'm like, but I could just fix that and that and that. And little did I know, it was the professor's way of conning me into joining. He wanted me to join. He just didn't want to ask me. So he watched him, flounder periodically. And I kind of jumped in to help because that's what I do. So I basically do all the prep and foundational and organizational things that he doesn't. And we work hand in hand to make everything happen.
And my devious Machiavellian scheme is complete.
And the torture for this will go on a lifetime.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Boy. Oh, boy. Dave, do you have another question?
Yeah, actually. It's just a real quick follow-up. I was wondering, because you both got involved in this show. We got a little bit of a glimpse into it, but I was wondering if you can go a little more in depth on, why? What really drew you to do a sex-positive podcast with a bunch of weirdos like myself?
I'll start on this one. I've been involved in a number of board of directors for national organizations in the kink and sex activism community for the past probably 20 years on and off. I had retired a few years ago, but it's something I've always been very passionate about, is educating and fundraising and providing safe spaces for a variety of different non-normative, although I hate the word, communities. And so it makes perfect sense to be a part of this. And I got sucked into it.
And for my part, you can't tell because you can only hear my voice, but maybe you can guess. I am a white cisgender male. So basically I'm trying to pay back for all our crimes.
I understand that a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Because I've always been involved in creative stuff and movies and theater and all that kind of stuff, I've been around a lot of, like the madam said, non-normative people. I consider myself a non-normative person. You know what normal means? Normal means of or pertaining to average abilities or experience. That's not us.
Mm-mm.
We ain't average.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of my non-normative friends get a lot of crap constantly because, at least, I've got that exterior cover of being, male and white and so forth. And it's like anything I can do to demystify and get other people to understand that all these so-called non-normative people are just like all the other people, and there's nothing to get weirded out about or nothing to be afraid about. And the educational aspect of it, in short, really attracted me to be able to be part of something positive like that.
Right. So I know your background, but I know the audience would be amazed to hear. We heard a little bit about Lee's working on different board of directors and stuff like that, and there might be more there. But Professor, why don't you start us off with what is your background? What are the things that have been the building blocks to helping create something like this and throughout your professional history and personal history or whatever?
Well, I mean, I've been making movies since I was a kid, and with a Super 8 camera and a little red wagon, and that dates me. But after high school, I spent some time in the military doing video and film work, and then I bummed around for a few years with my old movie-making buddies trying to get some independent films off the ground, and ye gods, that was an educational experience. And then finally wound up in Hollywood, where I worked my way up from production assistant all the way back to my original first love, which was special effects. And by the end of things, I was working on, basically if there was a big special effects movie you saw in the 90s, I probably worked on it.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen your IMDb page, and it is quite impressive. So we won't give away the secret name behind the mask, but yeah, it is impressive.
It's a secret.
It's a secret.
Just know that his coworkers often say, "Sorry, Daddy."
Oh.
It's a whole story behind that one.
We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to learn a little bit more about these two and, what it takes to make a vodcast and a podcast. We may have questions about, challenges or, maybe they even have a few ideas of what have been their favorite parts of the show so far. So we'll be right back in a moment after this. David, you want to take us out?
Sure. Here's a word from our sponsors. Go buy stuff.
Yay!
Hi, guys. This is Sean Monkey McAnee, Monkey for short. You know what? If you're in town here in Sacramento, or if you're anywhere, you need to check out Midtown Moxies. They are a Sacramento burlesque troupe that is blowing my doors off. They are amazing. Generally, they have 2 shows a month. One called the Midtown Moxies and one called Moxie Crush. You need to go to midtownmoxies.com or find them on Facebook. They are amazing. They're beautiful. They're funny as hell. Trust me, I wouldn't be advertising with them if I didn't believe in them. They are freaking fantastic. Enough said. Go to midtownmoxies.com.
Cast what?
I think we're back.
Are we?
The lights went out for a second, and then they came back on, and then you were talking. I don't know what happened.
Oh, dear. Do you see what we have to work with?
I blame the professor. But we are here, speaking of professor and madam. We're here with the professor and madam. Say hi, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
And also Monkey. Say hi, Monkey.
Hi, Monkey. How are you?
And we're basically learning a little bit about what goes on behind this show. So we're going to lead in with a question here. I really need to know the technical side of how do you produce a podcast and a vodcast? Because I have no idea, and I would love to learn.
Wow. You really want the answer? Or you just want to say that we waved a magic wand and it happened?
No.
Well, no, I want to learn the technical side. Teach me the nitty-gritty so I can stop being an ignorant host who has no idea what he's doing.
Well, madam, you gonna take that, or?
I'm gonna let you start with that, and then I'll fill in all the blanks.
All right. Well, actually, it might be better for you to take the front end because the pre-production to a show involves a lot of organizational stuff. And do you want to address a little bit of that first?
Sure. Well, I guess that would be for me to take on. It doesn't matter if we're doing a podcast or a vodcast or a nugget or some of the things we have coming forward. The biggest thing is the first thing the entire team does, and it's not just me, is we come up with a topic for the month.
Mm-hmm.
We always record a month in advance. So what you're seeing in January is recorded in December. And I graciously take away an entire month of people's lives at a time in one wave of a wand and force them to think that they're in January when we're really in December. So they've already dealt with Christmas and they have to pretend, which is always fun for me. Figuring out our guests is a huge collaborative effort. We have a team between Heather Bass and Monkey and myself that reach out to find our guests. And of course, anybody on the team who has an idea for a guest is welcome to put it forward. We coordinate with the guests. We do some pre-interviews. We do research so that our lovely hosts all look intelligent on the show. We can ask questions that it's like they've spent all day and all week researching, so they know everything.
Look intelligent is the key term.
Oh, that's the hardest part right there. Look, I can sound intelligent.
Yeah. You see what we have to work with, right? Anyhow, I'm just saying, for podcasts, we have moved from a studio production. It was sort of a little difficult to record 3 podcasts in one day, setting up an entire studio environment. And we've got more flexibility now because we're doing most of our recordings over a web media, which allows a lot less setup and breakdown. And our vodcasts are still a full stage setup. So that actually happens, believe it or not, in our home, in the professor's and I home. We set up a stage. We'll have music, entertainment. Every now and then, somebody throws a monkey wrench in, and we have more entertainment than we know how to fit in our space. So we have to work around that. And it's just a matter of, we do a little bit of setup. We do a lot of the background. And then after that, all the real work happens after the show's over. And that's where the professor really comes in.
And moving into the production phase of things, there's an enormous amount of setup there. You have to figure like on the vodcast, it's a 3-camera shoot. So we've got two DSLRs and a GoPro. So we're shooting a 3-camera shoot just like a regular talk show would.
Right.
We record all those. We record audio separately because technical note to people who are interested in getting into this stuff, DSLRs record sucky audio. So you have to make
tiny speakers.
So you have to make all this provision to record audio, good audio in a separate thing, and then you have to marry those two. And we actually slate the shots like you see them do in the old-fashioned movies. And that click of that slate allows us to synchronize the video and the audio, although a lot of that's automated now. Some of it's manual. And then we edit. That gets into the post-production side of things. A lot of times, like Monkey mentioned, we have guests that, throw a monkey wrench at us. We got to kind of make some adjustments on the edit and fine-tune the music. And I frequently try and do something special for at least one of the musicians' numbers, whether that's make it look like, black and white, sepia tone, making it look like vintage stuff, whatever the case may be. And, and there's all our graphics, the lower thirds and the animated intro and outro and all those good things. So all that stuff's got to come together. And then we final it out, and then it goes out to the distribution phase. And Madam, would you like to jump back on that one?
Sure, I can absolutely do that. So distribution is a joint effort. After the professor loads things up to our basically distribution point, Monkey takes care of launching them to the podcast networks, and he does some graphic work for that. And we do a lot of social media outreach on all of this, so there's always notes, things going out on that, and it's just kind of a constant thing. We want to get people know that we're out there, and it shows. Our ratings have actually been phenomenal. With a podcast that's not even a year old, to be in the top, 1 or 2 of the sexuality podcasts on iTunes, and in the top 10 of the health at this point was beyond any of our imaginations.
Right.
That takes a lot of diligence, and Monkey does as much as I do, I think, on that side of it.
Oh,
and
most of the time.
You guys go from there.
I have little robot monkeys that help me do things too, so it's fun. My little minions. So I know that there's a tad bit of a difference, but can you talk about maybe the effort that's put in between like a vodcast and a podcast? Because I think the listeners would like to understand how much work goes in or how many hours go into all of this type of stuff.
Oh, I don't know that you really want to know the number of hours.
Yeah, that might embarrass us all the way around. Okay. No, it's kind of hard to judge actually, because when you're doing this as your passion project, presumably everybody's got day jobs, so you apply time to it when you can. So it's a little harder to track. Vodcasts are definitely way more involved than podcasts. Podcasts are relatively straightforward. You get a bunch of people online together through one of the various online meeting apps. You record everybody. You throw it into a template that we've created in Adobe Premiere. I mean, all of our editorial work is done on the Adobe products, and then that's done. Vodcast, on the other hand, is like a true sitcom or talk show 3-camera shoot. So I would say it takes easily, what would you say, madam, 2-3 times as long, to maybe as much as 4 or 5 times as long?
The stage setup to get the cameras, the stage, any decorations that are relevant to the show, and lighting set before our hosts even step in is probably about a 4-hour to 5-hour process. Then every time we come in, if we have to do a stage change, and often when we have entertainment, we have to do a set change at some point, and that's about another 20 to 30 minute changeover. We've gotten very good at it, but that's through a lot of practice. And every time we bring somebody else on the mic, we have to do a mic check. So to balance everything else out, on our recording days for what's generally a 1-hour vodcast, from the moment the hosts and guests step onto our set to the time they go away, it's about 3.5 to 4 hours to produce a 1-hour show. And then on the post side, between the two of us, we probably put in between 40 and 60 hours a show. And that really largely depends on how much special stuff the entertainment side of it needs.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot of time. I'm sure it's not really helped by all the temper tantrums I throw backstage and all the bloopers and whatnot. And actually, speaking of those bloopers, I'm wondering, what kind of things have you seen? Like, if you could fill in our audience a little bit on the silliness that goes on.
Ooh, I've got one. Can I take it?
Oh boy.
Yeah, go for it.
It's actually for you, David. I think I've mentioned this before. When you are setting up to shoot a show, you have to do audio checks on people. Everybody has a mic pack, and everybody runs through the mixing board and into the recording device, and you have to check everybody's audio levels. So you ask them to talk a little bit. So invariably, what happens is people are sitting around joking, laughing. As soon as you say, "Hey, can everybody be quiet? And can I just hear so-and-so for an audio check?" they go dead silent. I don't. What should I talk about? You've been talking for the last half hour.
Mm-hmm.
David is the glorious exception to that rule, because any time I've said, "David, can I get an audio check on you?" he launches into a story that is this nonstop stream of consciousness gem that I swear I'm going to make a reel of just those.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, David's crazy.
Oh, legitimately, and also in the fun way. But if you're listening out there, actually, and if you want to host, if you're interested in hosting and you want to get like a sound team behind you, and they ask you for that sound check, just start talking. Like, do them that big favor, because all they need is noise. It doesn't matter what the noise is, right?
It is important that it's in your normal speaking voice.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing a lot of people do. They'll, you ask them to talk, and all of a sudden they get very quiet, and Mouse like, and I adjust the audio level to match that, and then they come on camera, and it's, "Hi, how you doing?"
And then we have monkey sound checks.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We try and keep him in his human form, but periodically these odd sounds come out as the monkey, the inner monkey, literally comes out, and yeah. No, just for a fun note, we have never once, not ever once, asked Monkey to speak up.
No.
No, we just moved the mic further and we're further away from him because, wow, he has some amazing range. He's an awesome host, but he's got amazing vocal range.
Thank you. That's a polite way of saying I'm very loud.
No, it's actually a good thing. I mean, people that have done professional work with their voice like you have know how to have a lot of dynamic range to their voice, and that's actually a good thing. What's tough is when you've got one person that's got a wide dynamic range and somebody else that stays in a very narrow window, and that's where a lot of the post-production work comes in, balancing all that stuff.
Well, speaking of that, that sounds like a challenge to have to balance some of that stuff. Have there been any other challenges that you've experienced walking through producing the show so far?
I'm going to take some of this, Professor.
All right, go ahead.
So other than the professor, who has more experience in film and media than all of us put together, although Monkey has a lot of experience in media, the rest of us are constantly learning. So we make interesting stumbles. And I think some of our early blooper reels won't be as funny to anybody but the host and the staff of the show, because we just forgot that there was a wire that shouldn't be dangling down somebody's cheek. Mm-hmm. So we had to recut an entire section because of a wire misplacement. Or, early on when we were slating, we didn't take it as seriously as the professor wanted us to. And boy, he made me wrote lines that night. So we were a little smart-assed, and it resulted in almost double the amount of hours in post So some of the things are just lessons learned on technique and skills. And I think one of the most amusing things was the hosts, each time we come in for the podcast especially, we give them direction now. We give them coaching each time of, hey, we watched this last one, and this time we want you to do this. I know it'll feel super, super silly, but you'll look fantastic on camera. So it's a constant evolution of our quality and our skills as we're all getting better and better and more fluid together.
Yeah, I mean, like the best note you've given me, and I think you give it to Jessie too, is not turning the head, but turn the body. And felt really weird, but when you see it on camera, it works so well. So yeah, thank y'all for all the good work you do.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that people don't realize, when they watch a movie or a TV show that's going on, like eye lines, like we were talking about. Where are you looking? Where we ask you to look may not be where you would actually look, but we're asking you to look in a fashion that makes you look better on camera. There's, the turning of the body thing. There's learning not to talk off mic. People think that being on camera is just, oh, I've got a great personality, I'll just be on camera and be awesome. And there's a lot of technical craft to it that you really need to learn if you want to do this stuff right. And it's part of the fun for me for the show has been, it's going to sound arrogant, but I really do have a ridiculous amount of experience. I have been doing this since I was a child. And I've worked on 35 feature films and hundreds and hundreds, literally, of commercials and music videos. So
he has a half a century of work behind him, guys.
I got an enormous amount of information, and you can't just download that into other people's heads. Would that you could, but I do enjoy sharing that. I do enjoy teaching, because I had a lot of really talented people that taught me as I was coming up. So I figure part of my deal is I got to pass that information on to other people. And that's fun, and sometimes it's a little frustrating, because people don't understand why you're asking them to do a weird thing. And in Hollywood, it'd be like, just shut up and do what I've told you.
Right.
We try and be a little friendlier than that. So, but it's been great. We had challenges like we did that burlesque thing, and one of our burlesque performers came in and needed to use up a lot more stage space than we expected, and it we wound up having to shoot off set, as they say. So basically, I had to supply an entire artificial background to that to make it work at all. And a lot of it's just adapting to things on the fly. There's always challenges like that. A piece of equipment craps out on you, so what are you going to do? And you have to be able to just, like I said, just deal with it on the fly.
Well, I think we're going to go to another break. David, where are you at?
Hey. Yeah, that's right. It's time for a break, so I'll tell you what. You listen to some words from our sponsors. We'll be right back with Professor and Madam.
We'll be here too, but we'll be right back.
Well, yeah.
Hello, this is David Loretta Mola with the BCBC Podcast. Now, I know you're sitting there thinking, what could David possibly tell me about condoms that I don't already know? Here's a fact. Do you get a condom that delivers to you monthly? I don't think you do. But if you order Lucky Blow condoms, they're great. They'll get you through whatever you need to do. And when you're done, no worries. There's no babies coming out of nothing. That's a fact. You can quote me on that. David Loretta Mola says, buy Lucky Blow condoms. You'll never regret it.
Welcome back to the Brown Chicken, Brown Cow Show. This is Monkey, and I'm just hanging out here with some wonderful people. David is co-hosting with me today. Hi, David.
I sure am.
Awesome. And we are interviewing the people that are behind the scenes, the people that are making the show look good, sound good, and still feel good, and give you the best experience on your end, because we as with most projects, you don't see most of the stuff that goes on, but you see the final product, and we hope you like it. And the people that make that look good are the Madam and the Professor. So, Professor, or either one, I really can step in. How has the show evolved since we first got started?
You want to take that, Madam, or shall I?
That one's all you.
Okay. Well, when Monkey and I when it was just the two of us sitting down talking about this originally, the idea was trying to do a live stream show. And, we're talking about where we've been and where we're going. I think we'd like to get back to that original idea at some point. But it became apparent very quickly to everybody concerned that the technical challenges of producing a 3-camera show were a little more than expected. So that's why we went to this pre-recorded format. And that's what we've been doing, and we've managed to maintain great production quality as a consequence. So going forward, we're going to continue to do that and make those great. And then someday we hope to get to that point where we can do our show live and live stream it for everybody.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for the live show. It's going to be a ways down the road still, but we're getting better. We're getting these things down. We're getting our segments and all those other things. So I'm really excited that we're still moving towards that direction and bringing a community of people to watch it online, live maybe, us also in studio. So it's going to be a lot of fun. David, what do you got to ask over there?
Well, what do I got to ask? Well, you did get into it a little bit in terms of doing live shows, but I know I have a couple plans that I would love to see for us do. But for you two, where do you see the show going? Where would you like to see the show go?
I'll start with this one.
Yeah.
So when we started the show, it was all about focusing on sex positivity, and that is really awesome. But as we started talking to people and some of our guests and some of our audience, the feedback we've been getting, it really became apparent that we couldn't just segment sex positivity without really addressing body and gender positivity, because they all wrap into how people visualize and see themselves in a sexual or sexual identity. So we've sort of over the last few months morphed from BCBC, the Brown Chicken Brown Cow Sex Positive Show, to the Sex, Gender, and Body Positive Show. And so as we move forward, we're going to start addressing more of the body and gender positivity and identities in there as well, and try and balance those. I really like that we can hit some hard topics and we still have a lot of fun with it. In fact, that's probably my favorite part of all the production, whether we're doing a podcast, a nugget, or a vodcast, is that our team is absolutely goofy and we have a lot of fun. And even in the serious topics, we still have some fun presenting them and learning together. So the laughter and the camaraderie is really important. So I'm looking forward to continuing with that. We're also evolving next year. We're going to be overhauling the website. It's in progress right now. And one of the things we're going to be adding to it is a blog. And all of our hosts and the behind-the-scenes people, and we might even have some guest bloggers. We're going to have some fun times in there and add that as another venue, because some people really like the written word more than the spoken. One of the fun sides of that is we have our bisexual Jessilee and our asexual David that are going to be doing a joint product review of sex toys once a month or so. And I just can't imagine how much more fun that's going to be. First of all, they're both amazing comedians and ad-libbers, and they're just going to have a great time with that. So we're going to be having that on there, and we're looking for more and more information and feedback from our audience about what you want to see so that we can help deliver it.
Professor.
Did I shock you?
No, you didn't shock me at all. Professor, do you have any input there or anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, some similar things, actually. I look forward to the community and the fan base growing. I really like the promotional event stuff that we've done, that mostly Monkey has done, to be honest. And like that art mix thing.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
David was there, and you were there, and I think those are great. I'd like to see us do a bit more of that as well, because that kind of word of mouth at events is one of the best ways to draw in new viewers. And not just here in the Sacramento area, but down in the Bay Area particularly.
Right. Yeah. So you kind of alluded to a little bit of it, madam, but with some of the things that go on behind the scenes, because there's a lot of work and a lot of things spinning. But particularly during the show, can you talk about what's going on to make the show better, or in directions to make these things smoother and better and elevated in some way?
Absolutely. So like I started saying, every show, the professor and I sit down at the end of it, and sometimes we bring in the monkey, and we figure out what we need to do a little bit better next show. So we're always evolving show to show on techniques and things like that. We are looking right now at some new instrumentation and equipment that we want, but that will happen in time as we get more sponsors and more Patreon, because we have a wonderful Patreon page if you haven't been to it. And that helps us put the show on. So there's some equipment we want to do that'll give us a little higher quality audio and video, and will give us a better control over the 3-camera setup. That's on our agenda to try and get by the end of 2018, so that, and the sooner the better, but that's a goal for us. I know that between the professor, the monkey, and myself, we are working on some grant proposals and some budget proposals to different funding organizations to help us move out there, because from the successes we're having, it really does seem like we're hitting a good foundation, a good niche, and the feedback we're getting suggests the same. So we want to just be able to keep providing you with a good experience. And by expanding to different media platforms and the video and the audio and the blogging, and going out and doing networking and showing up at events and helping people out, that's some of the things we're doing. The more outreach we do, the better we are.
Oh, yeah. So those sound like, I was wondering if we could get into a little bit more detail on like the resources that the show needs. Like what kind of resources are we really looking for here?
Well, I will start with people, and then I'll have the professor chime in on some of the equipment. As we continue to grow and we get bigger, we definitely could use some additional assistance. Neither the professor nor myself is a sound engineer, and we would really love if somebody was interested in popping around and helping us on the vodcast, especially with some sound engineering, so that we can make sure that we deliver a quality sound as well as video. If we have anybody who's really, really super excited about helping out with social media distribution and maintaining, we have a very active social media presence with between 2 and 4 messages a day going out, and we could absolutely use some help with that. And as we move towards a live show, we're going to need people to work the set with us, and that's not something we're just going to bring you in on. We believe in working with you and training you so that we can make sure everybody's going to be successful. And then on the instrumentation and equipment side, Professor?
A lot of that, the equipment and on-set stuff evolves very gradually. If you've watched all the episodes, you may see how subtle ways in which the set has evolved. We had holiday-themed decorations for the holiday part, and there's been, minor slight changes like that. So, we're constantly looking at things like that for the on-camera part. For the behind-camera part, that's really kind of on us, because we have to have that gear. We have to possess it. But some of those various funding methodologies that Monkey and the Madam mentioned will allow us to do that. And, better cameras, better microphones, better recording devices, just constantly upgrading the equipment incrementally to continue to improve the process. One of the things I'm looking forward to doing soon is putting up that screen in the background like we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
So there'll be like for our listeners, that's, like when you watch a show and there's a video monitor in the background that displays the show logo and maybe occasionally plays clips, and then it cuts to a full screen version of the clip. We're working on a process to allow us to do that. So it's like I said, it's a constant evolution and upgrade.
Absolutely. Okay, so well, we've kind of alluded to a couple different things that if somebody in the community has audio experience, they can step up. If somebody has social media experience that wants to help out, they can help donate their time there as well and help elevate us a little bit more. How can the community as a whole start getting involved in helping us out? I know I have my ideas, but I want to hear them from you. Professor?
Yeah, one of the things that helps us is, knowledge is power. So we find out about organizations and groups and individuals all the time based on our own research, but it's also helpful when our friends and viewers and family suggest things. They see a program of ours and they say, oh, well, that was really interesting, but did you know about this person or this group? That's awesome. When we get that kind of feedback, even just dropping us a line on Facebook and saying, hey, I saw this show on this. Did you guys know about this organization? That's the kind of fan and community feedback that we're really, really, looking to try and develop more.
Oh, absolutely. I know I have people sending me posts and articles and stuff all the time. So that really does help me to build our social media posts on our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram pages. Madam?
If we have people that love doing research, we could definitely use some assistance in some of the research we do on our upcoming shows. It takes, a lot of time to come up with good quality questions and synopses of the guests we have coming up and people willing to do pre-interviews. It just takes a little bit off of Monkey and the professor and my plate, and that allows us to focus more on the show quality. So that's an awesome thing too. And like I said, if we have people who are interested in doing social media, or if there are people who wanted to be ambassadors and spread the name of our organization around and talk to people in their local communities, we are working on building a resource and giving people the information so we can be an educational program. So the more people know about us, the more we can work with that.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, as someone who joined this operation after it had already started, I was a little nervous at first, and I came in and it was just like warm acceptance. It's a really cool place to work for, really cool people, like especially the professor and Madam, Monkey, Jesselie, Heather, like everybody. Yeah, it's a really cool place to work for, and we're doing a whole lot of good things.
Oh yeah. So. Wow, 45 minutes is just ripped by. I didn't expect it to go so fast, guys. This is
hang on for a minute.
What?
We haven't properly acknowledged
who?
Our stage crew.
Oh, the entire stage crew. Okay.
So what many of you, if you watch the podcast and you're aware that this is in our house, our stage manager is the Corgi, who just randomly does walkthroughs of our stage and herds people all over the house to make sure that that they are on stage when they're supposed to on the timer. She's excellent at that. And then our other stage crew that randomly walk through and just wreak havoc because they can are our cats. So, you can't have the show without acknowledging our stage crew.
This is very true. No, I would like to personally thank both, the professor and Madam David here today, as well as the entire crew, Jesselie, Heather Beth, Miss Laura, who else am I? I think that's it. The stage manager, the Corgi, all the creators, and everybody who has additional supporting roles that aren't being credited for the show, but they are helping me in ways that they know who they are. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. If you want to learn more about the show, absolutely go to BCBCPodcast.com. You can find out all the details there, but don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Go out to our YouTube channel, because that is a fantastic resource. You can actually go watch and listen to all the podcasts and videos that we create over there. That's on YouTube. Look for Brown Chicken, Brown Cow Podcast. And go out to our Patreon page. You can find a level that will help us, and we will give you stuff back. We will actually create things or send you stuff or just say thank you on the air. All these things are possible. You can even donate to the Monkey Blushometer, because the madam really just wants you to do that to make me blush. David, do you have anything you want to say before we sign off?
Gosh, just reiterating what I said already, I feel really lucky to be able to work with all of you, and I'm really grateful for the professor and madam. Like, seriously, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Professor and Madam. You guys are great.
We enjoy working with you.
This is Monkey. Say hi, David.
Can I add one last thing?
Okay, Professor, fine.
He's been waiting to do that to you forever, because you always leave him hanging on a close.
I know, right? I wanted to thank everybody as well, because this, we have a cliche in Hollywood. This is the best crew I've ever worked with. But this is really a great crew. No BS, guys. It really is. And I also want to thank our viewers and listeners, because, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody hears it, it's not a very fun thing. And finally, I think we all should thank all of our various spouses and partners, because this does take a lot of time. It's a very demanding thing that we're doing, and all of them, to my knowledge, have been nothing but helpful and supportive, and they kick in a ton of different ways all the time. Right. And I really appreciate that. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's enough.
Yeah, I think that's enough. David, do you think that's enough?
I think that's enough for now.
And be good to each other. Have a good night. Bye.
Go get them.
Bye.
Hi guys, this is Sean Monkey McEnany, Monkey for short. What you need to know now is that Brown Chicken, Brown Cow needs your love. It needs your help, and personally, we could use your money. But Short of that, what you need to do is go out and like our Facebook page. Number 2, give us a review on whatever podcast ability you have. Go out to iTunes, go out to Google Play, give us a good review because that helps. Number 3, subscribe. Subscribe to our podcast because that helps our numbers, helps us with advertisers, helps us with everything. It makes us look good, actually. And number 4, and this is very important, come close to the speaker. It's fantastic. You can go out to Patreon and support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/BCBC Podcast. You can support us at whatever level of support you think you can manage. I don't want you to give us money if you can't do it, but I want you to give us some money and we'll give you back some love as well. We'll give you back some stuff. We'll talk about you on the radio. Who knows? But in the end, supporting us helps keep the show going. Subscribing to the podcast gives us better numbers. And liking our Facebook page, guess what? You always know when the show's coming. So, this is Monkey. You're you. We are together. Cuckoo-cuckoo. Fantastic. See you on the next show.
For information on becoming a sponsor, advertising with us, or becoming a guest on our show, visit us at brownchickenbrowncowshow.com. All information in this show is copyright 2018 by the Brown Chicken Brown Cow Show and Podcast and Mariu Creative Solutions. All rights are reserved.
Brown chicken, brown cow. 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 This is fun. Brown chicken, brown cow. Brown chicken, brown cow.